into setting up the pick style for the late game. The only thing that is really coming through here is this Kassadin. This is where Scout is finding comfort, but he needs time to scale. He wants to be hitting that level 13, 14, level 16 mark, if at all possible. But FPX will be doing their damnedest to stop this Kassadin from scaling.
Now we have to bear in mind, Scout actually has not played the Kassadin a single time this split. It's a comfort pick for doing B, and obviously he'll have done his practice, his due diligence on this Kassadin. But my question is, can he have an impact in the early game here, in the mid game? Because that is when we've had the good Kassadin separated from the great here in the LPL.
I had to double check my notes when you said that. I was like, he's played 15 champions as Scout, and he hasn't played Kassadin, which super surprised me.
It's a surprising statistic for sure, and he's going to be taking that fleet footwork for the sustain during that laning phase. And once again, I want to revisit a point you brought up just a moment ago. A lot of this series has been about controlling the early game, going for these roams and these dives in the bottom side of the map. And I can very much see this FPX composition going for those style of plays early on.
And you can already see he might be looking to set one up here with a late invade in towards the enemy jungle. Doinby has made his way over here as well, especially with JJ starting topside. This is going to go over to FPX, but possibility here for JJ to just split the map.
Hope has spotted them, and so there won't be any kills going either way, but it is going to be FPX that get priority onto this blue buff here, taking that away from EDG. And as you rightly say, JJ has the opportunity to split the map, but once again, this sets up for what you were talking about before. If FPX control that bottom half of the map, they can set up these dives.
And I think that's what they're going to be going for here is actually looking at JJ. He's trying to stop this from coming through. If he can move over towards this bottom side, have Mako and Hope pushing aggressively here like they're doing, they can actually match the aggression, potentially collapse onto Tian.
Oh, they're going to do exactly that. Mako will be stepping forward, tries to find the dazzle, but nice dodge from Tian. Sonic Wave did land, and he's going to go for it as well. Here comes JJ. He wants first blood. Not going to flash for the kill.
No, the heal was still there for LWX, so it might have been an overextension, but JJ has found his success. Stealing away the buff for buff and getting control on this bottom side makes it a lot more difficult for FPX to go for these early plays.
And look at this from JJ. Going to go for this red buff as well. And suddenly, Tian, the world's MVP jungler, has been read like a picture book.
It does mean, though, Audi's playing a lot more passive in this top side of the map. Gimgoon does reasonably well in this lane. You can see grasping the Undying, giving him a little bit of health back in the trades, making him very, very beefy as well. And because you've got that passive like you just saw, it's hard for Audi to try and avoid this damage and trade back as easily.
Also, that grasp of the Undying. Poppy in lane, not the most interactive champion, so it gives you a little mini game to work away at as well. Keeps you excited, keeps you interested in the top lane. Maybe that's just me as an AD carry speaking, but it makes that lane a little more palatable.
JJ now moving back towards the top side of the map. Because of all the dancing around he's done from one side of the map to the other, he's actually a level behind Tien. So Tien trying to see if he can get this vision on the bottom side, make sure that JJ isn't here to go for the Scuttle Crab. But JJ will be trying to trade for one of the top side of the map instead.
JJ went over towards this half of the map once again here. And I thought that Tian was going to try and make a play on towards the bottom side, but decides he needs to go and get his blue buff now.
JJ wants to try and go for this top lane scuttle, but the problem is, as we talked about Doinby having control of mid, you've got Gimgoon is pushing in top side. So when it comes to Scuttle Crabs, EDG will actually end up gifting it over to the bottom side as JJ knows that he can't try and contest for this.
You know what? While it's not ideal for JJ, Hope is over the moon. He gets himself 100 gold very early on into the game, so it's a nice little cash injection on this Kalista. And that's one of the things we saw in game number 3 from the side of EDG was prioritizing getting some gold into Hope's pockets on this Kalista and getting him some strength.
It's also about getting some vision down, as I said, the control for the bottom lane. It's not so much the gold, but denying this river control to Doinby so he can't make these plays, especially when he's going to be hitting level 6 in about a minute and a half.
Speaking of plays, FPX move towards the top side. Gimgoon won't get pulled back by the chains. They won't be able to go for the dive that they wanted. Just going to try and get a bit of pressure down.
But it's, sure, Gimgoon is getting some plates, but he's the tank. I mean, it doesn't massively matter when you still got to deal with Scout, who's going to be ramping up. I'd much prefer to see FPX trying to make these plays on the bottom side to shut down Hope, because when we hit the mid game, Hope is the one that needs to carry EDG when it comes to damage and team fighting prowess and giving Scout that time to scale.
It's going to be all about whether or not they can stall things out, but bear in mind, this is EDG we're talking about. All they've done all split is stall things out and wait for these late game fights. This is their speciality. Last game, that was the anomaly, not the other way around.
Again, though, we're seeing JJ doing good work when it comes to the pressure on the Dragons. Audi will spot out Doinby again. Audi's doing a great job here in avoiding so much of the pressure that's coming through from Doinby.
That's kind of what you expect from someone that pretty much exclusively plays tanks, usually towards that top side. When you look at his champion pool, plays a ton of Set, plays a ton of Ornn, plays a ton of the Mordekaiser. They're all weak side top laners, generally speaking. Stun down in the bottom side from Hope and Mako, but it's just going to be them trading away here. 10 CS advantage, but that will be reduced by this minion wave.
The thing is, though, if Doinby's consistently trying to roam here, get up towards the top side of the map, Scout is free farming in this mid lane. Now, he's just even when it comes to the CS, but it's more about him not being pressured right now. And if Audi bears the burden of the pressure from FPX, you're delighted as EDG, because Scout is the main win condition right now with this Kassadin lock-in.
And just take a moment to appreciate how much more safe FPX are being here in game number 4. Because game number 1 and 2, they were able to really set the tempo themselves, and while EDG had some answers, they were slowly but surely starting to fall behind. Game number 3, EDG had complete control of the early game, and now game number 4, FPX suddenly not quite as confident to just force the issue on these players.
This Scuttle Crab will give FPX really good control of this bottom river, though, and that's where they want to try and make their plays happen. Remember we talked about how EDG had already controlled the bottom side river? Well, now they don't have that anymore, and although the roulette that was whether it goes top or bottom for Scuttle spawn, it was more to see if JJ could be on this bottom side of the map to take it away nice and early. That's not the case, and FPX already, you can see, using that control they have to steal away the blue buff and get deep wards into JJ's jungle.
Nicely done. Doinby more than happy to accept a free blue buff there. Gets himself a bit more mana regen for that mid lane. And it is going to be him consistently just trying to shove that mid lane out so he can be freed up on the map to try and make plays. In the meantime, Scout will be trying to soak those waves, just get to the late game casting as fast as possible. But when you look at the CS numbers, Scout's actually kind of happy with that. Bear in mind he's about to get 6 more here. It's not that big of a lead for Doinby because of the amount of roaming he's pulled off. Look at the combo onto Mako. He's not level 6, forced to flash. It's going to be 2 summoners from the side of EDG.
And that's pick Crisp and LWX will do a lot on this combo of Leona and Misfortune. LWX will hit 6 ever so slightly faster on that wave and try and make the play. Yeah. Well, look, just Tarek things, all right? But this is something that LWX and Crisp will do a lot, and the whole reason that they do it is to try and force Hope and Mako back so they can roam towards this top lane, but it doesn't matter. EDG are not trying to contest on this Rift Herald right now. They understand the game plan here is weather the storm to the late game. JJ and Hope with these early to mid game champions are trying to do just that. However, EDG maybe
just
fishing for someone who's a bit late.
A little bit late to the party on that one. They're not going to find themselves any kind of kills. Scout not quite finished his Rod of Ages though. He's got the Catalyst. He's got himself a Blasting Wand as well. He's
fine, though, because he doesn't have to use his teleport to get back to lane here. Can pick up this wave underneath the tower, and whenever he does get the gold, instantly back to get that and start that stacking up. The problem here, though, is if Scout is using this to get the... If Scout is using his teleport to get back to lane, it opens up Doinby with his own teleport coming up to then make these side lane plays once again with no response from EDG. And a lot of this is coming back to that blue buff steal that we saw come through. Yep. Because Scout wasn't able to push in the wave and didn't have the mana sustain to stay in this lane, he couldn't hang on until he got to the gold for that Rod of Ages. So now it's put him in a bit of an unusual spot where he's got to make this tough choice as to how he wants to use that teleport.
Once again, CS numbers across the board just about even. The gold on the scoreboard, though, is slightly in favor of FPX. They're about 500 up right now. In terms of stats, later on at least, that will be answered by that Infernal Drake. But 500 gold, not really something you're going to write home about. It's more about the map pressure right now that FPX have been able to exert for themselves. Dragon spawning in about a minute's time, and we'll see what FPX do to set up for that Drake.
JJ has again, though, gotten this Risk Scuttler, so has managed to get some control of River. They've got the pink board here, but... Oh, JJ?
JJ cancels his recall, and he actually wants this fight. Dazzle goes down onto Crisp. Hope is going to arrive as well, and with the kickback, bullet time, actually is massive. Huge damage out of LWX. Crisp escapes over the wall. Audi's here in the mid lane to try and defend against this Rift Herald. He's going to get a couple of plates for the side of FPX. Amazing answer here from FPX just to survive that play and now turn it around in their favor in the mid lane.
If they can hold on to the tower, though, this is massive. Yes, the gold has gone over to FPX, but look at all the members that were there to share it. It's not like it just was injected into one singular person. And if this mid lane turret went down, EDG would struggle. Oh, hang on. Scout's on the chase.
Crisp is real low here. He is Leona, though. He's deceptively tanky if he has that Eclipse available.
Yeah, but it's level 9 to level 5. It's not even a fair fight.
Scout's going real deep here, though. That's a 3v1 if he decided to go for that. He's just zoning, though, because EDG, they get onto the Drake now.
So holding on to this mid lane turret is really important for EDG, because with all these map movements that are coming through from FPX, if that mid lane turret goes down, it means that it's far easier for Doinby to get these roams. Holding on to it, though, means that it'll at least stick around until that second Rift Herald spawns, and EDG can again just grasp into this early game and hold on for dear life as this Kassadin scales.
FPX have to move back over to their blue buff. Doinby needs that to keep shoving out during these laning phases. Gimgoon was hammering away towards the top tower, and he might just be able to finish that one off with this minion wave. But with Audi arriving, Tian and Crisp, they want to make something happen here. Gimgoon will try and force this minion wave in. Steadfast Presence comes on through. Audi pushed back, flashes away from the pillar. Zenith Blade is there though. Crisp happy to tank this one up. There's so much damage, but JJ arrives at the nick of time. Gets the shield. Audi survives.
They will manage to get this turret, though, and that was the real plan here for FPX. If they can get this top lane, start to get control in this top side jungle, have Gimgoon play in and around this mid lane and make it more difficult for EDG to hold on to these outer structures. Well played, though, from JJ to keep Audi alive.
Audi survives, but ultimately look at the gold right now. FPX are starting to really up the pace of this game now. 2,500 in their favor. EDG, they want to answer this somehow. We saw the Kalista damage on towers in game number 1. It's just not there.
The problem for EDG, though, is that they can't answer because of the teleport on Gimgoon and on Doinby. Every play they make has the threat of being turned into a man advantage for FPX, so they need to play this calm. They need to play it one step back, and it's a lose-lose situation for EDG.
Scout moves over to this mid lane, or to this blue buff, sorry, so that he can grab himself a bit more mana regen. Rod of Ages finished for both of these mid laners here, but Doinby obviously will have that tier on top of it, so he's stacking in more ways than one already.
So we've been harking on a lot about FPX, how they're using the map pressure to start the snowball, but EDG have been doing their own little speed run as we talked about on the dragons. Now, I don't feel like they're going to be able to fight for this third dragon unless FPX commit multiple members elsewhere on the map and they can sneak it away. But the important part is that they've delayed FPX getting to their own soul point, delayed when EDG are going to be forced to fight them for that objective. And by removing that from FPX's playbook, it gives a little bit more time for EDG, as we said, to get the scaling in their favor and wait for the later push.
Honestly, the thing I've been most impressed by with EDG in this series is how they're able to read what FPX are trying to do. Just moving up to make sure that they don't lose their red buff there. Really nice stuff from Audi, to start that one off. And JJ is able to grab it. Defending that mid lane tower once again, but the turret plates are about to fall in 10 seconds, and that won't be so easy to defend anymore.
It really won't be, and even that Rift Herald is about to spawn in a few moments as well. So now you've got multiple pressure points FPX can look to exploit, and if you're EDG trying to contest Rift Herald and you're trying to contest this mid lane turret, LWX can steal away this bottom lane turret.
So let's talk kind of game plan here for both of these teams as we head towards the 15-minute mark, and Herald will be on the cusp of spawning as well. Oh my days.
Yep.
1,280 gold, 800 of it for Gimgoon. That's a chain vest in of itself, by the way. Gimgoon is real tanky right now. But let's talk game plans here, because we've got a late game carry in the mid lane for both of these squads.
The problem here, though, is that they do have the late game carry, but the gold from FPX hasn't been funneled into it. We just saw Poppy has been the big proponent of all these turret plates, so she's great, she's fed, yes, but it's not on Doinby. LWX didn't get any gold at all, so FPX are still at a relatively even pace when it comes to gold onto the carries, but Scout, level 11, very quickly ramping up, already 4 stacks under his Rod of Ages. So keep your eyes on when Scout can come online, because it's about 5 to 6 minutes from now.
We'll see if that power spike will be able to influence the game here. EDG contesting for the Herald. We could have a fight on our hands. The first proper fight of the game. Mako engaged upon. Dazzle's not going to quite land onto anyone. Fate's call to keep the support alive. JJ going in with a kick. It's only onto one. The Cosmic Radiance keeps everyone safe. Crisp the first target, but he's got a stopwatch. Bullet time only onto Audi, who's wreaking havoc, but he's going to fall. Kill goes the way of Gimgoon, and now the re-engage. Gimgoon goes straight on in, and he is basically a brick wall at this point. DoinB following the front line. This is surely a fight for FPX. One goes the way of DoinB, and the follow-up not quite there. JJ jumps away to a minion. 2 for 0.
FPX played that fight so well. LWX gets in a position for a fantastic bullet time. Gimgoon has the hammer to toss away 2 members of EDG, turning it into a very unfair fight. And FPX, who already had the champion advantage and where they're strong right now, are able to completely wipe the floor. And it looks like maybe EDG can do this. They've got the Cosmic Radiance, which is why they're baiting this so well, but JJ's kick doesn't quite get the knock up onto Crisp that he would have liked, and with this knock away onto Hope, the damage isn't quite there for EDG. Audi goes down in the bullet time. Scout hasn't been able to ramp up yet where he can really be a threat towards this back line, and EDG, with all the flashes coming in, will fall.
And Crisp as well during that fight. We saw it on his Tom Kench, now we're seeing it on the Leona. He's happy to be the target. Gimgoon's arrived to try and contest for this Herald, but JJ will have his smite available, so that will go the way of EDG. Scout happy to grab that one for him and his team. So EDG at least gets something off the back of this, but look at the gold! 4,500, almost 5,000 in favor of FPX.
Well, look, we expected this to begin with, that FPX would get off to a start where they can accelerate themselves, but it's a big question of how much can they accelerate. 4,000 gold is a very good start for them, though. The question here, though, is with that Rift Herald being uncontested by Tien, which is the big surprise for me here. I thought FPX would go back to try and fight that one more time. Scout has the Rift Herald in his back pocket. He can play down towards this top side, or bottom side, or even towards this top side. Use that Rift Herald to get more turret gold into his pocket, and then look again to accelerate further.
We have to take a moment, though, to remember what happened in Game 3 here, because EDG, they were actually in a relatively similar position to where FPX are in Game number 4. They were pretty far ahead at this 15-minute mark, and FPX not quite as far as ahead as EDG were, but these next couple of fights could propel them forward. It could slingshot them towards a victory. It was a 24-minute victory for EDG, and I think that FPX might want to try and replicate that.
The difference here, though, is again, we're seeing EDG trying to trade at least a little bit here. They are 3 towers to 1, though. FPX have gotten every single outer turret, and now LWX is looking to try and take one faster. But look at the top side. Again, EDG are looking to just trade back and forth.
They've got the Herald to get one charge. Gimgoon's here to try and defend. But the AD carry is not in that top lane. It's important to mention. So tower taker will be relatively slow. DoinB. Later the Rune King onto him from Hope, but that's going to be all that comes out in that mid lane, because the rest of the team is on the way. Realm Warp not going to be followed through on.
To look at the top side, though, I wasn't sure if they're going to make the play with the Cosmic Radiance onto Gimgoon, but it is tower for tower. The problem is you've now abandoned the mid lane as EDG, so FPX will take the tier 2 as well in the mid lane.
When people think of FPX, if all you've seen of them was 2019, you think of chaos, you think of these guys just running rampant around the map, forcing fights, going for dives. But here in 2020, this is a team that has immaculate macro.
And they're proving it here at game number 4. And EDG up towards this late game Kassadin, but we said already, FPX, they love to get these early game leads. They love to run away with the game before you can answer for them, and Kassadin gives them that opportunity. So even though Scout was able to survive that little bit. Doinby still making plays on the top side of the map, gets the early turret, then they move towards mid, FPX move towards bot. And now as we start to look in a minute 45 of this Cloud Dragon that's about to spawn, FPX already picking up one for themselves. They're ramping up their own dragons.
We'll have to see who's going to go for that next one, because bear in mind, as you rightly said before, we're getting to the point in the game where these two mid lane carries will start to look like the late game selves. It's the 2-item mark that both Kassadin and Rise will really start to hit like trains. Doinby, though, is going to hit that mark a lot earlier on the side of FPX.
Especially when he has the items that he does. Doinby has already completed the not the Tear of the Goddess, the upgraded Tear of the Goddess, not Seraph's Embrace, the middle one.
Archangel Staff.
Thank you very much. And Scout hasn't even fully completed his yet. Actually, there's the Seraph's just popped.
Anyway, yeah.
And now Scout is very far behind. This is a bunch of gold that's gone into Doinby.
This Rise, once again, can make these plays in a Realm Warp out of the pit. FPX, they wanted a catch there. They're not going to find it, though.
As long as EDG can dissuade them, though, that's a win in their books. Again, delay, but Mako force the flash.
That's kind of a big deal from the Tarek. The Flash Dazzle, one of the only real forms of engage on the side of EDG here. Oh, and look at the Colonel. The Colonel's really liking the way FPX are playing this game.
LWX is, I thought, going to back away to pick up the Infinity Edge for himself. He looked like that was the call from FPX here to just inject more gold into their pockets, but unfortunately with that dragon spawning, FPX will have to hang on before they go back and complete some of these big items.
And you know, this game has been a lot slower than the rest of the games in this series have, but I think that that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's more of a testament to how great FPX can be at playing this slow style of League of Legends. And it's really great to see that they have evolved from what we saw in 2019. We see multiple different styles out of this team now, and they can take it slow, they can take it fast, they can take it however they need to in whatever series they're in. And they're going to get themselves a second Drake for themselves, and that cooldown on the ultimates is actually kind of a big deal for this team.
I just want to go back to your point, though. I feel like a lot of this, the changes we've seen in FPX, even in 2019, a lot of it is off the back, obviously, of picking up the likes of Doinby and having Tian come into the team, but Warhorse as well. He won Coach of the Split in 2019, and he definitely deserves it for how he's starting to slowly but surely iron out some of the issues that we see on FPX. This is where we started to see a complete turnaround, because don't forget, before 2019, the furthest that FPX had ever made it was round 1 of the playoffs. They actually hadn't gotten any further, but then they came into 2019 with Doinby and Tian, Warhorse coming onto the roster, and even though they fell to a surprise upset against JDG in spring, summer they took first place. Then they went to Worlds and took it all, and FPX are still looking to once again answer that call.
And FPX right now teleporting into the Baron pit. Bear in mind, this machine gun Rise with Seraphs and now a completed Zhonya's is hitting like a freight train. He's going to burn through this Baron so damn quick. JJ has to go for some kind of miracle play, but he's forced out of the pit and knocked away. This is surely the Baron secured by Tian. He's going to try and go for it. JJ's back, but it gets taken in the end. Bullet time across the whole team, and EDG are losing the fight handedly. FPX are running home with this game. Hope denied by the Poppy pick. And there's a shield over the wall, triple for LWX.
And he couldn't just quite get the damage out of Scout. He hasn't hit his late game point, and FPX are punishing 23 minutes, and they are cracking open the base, but they have Baron. They can push through here.
They might just try and force things through. They've still got 20 seconds on each carry from EDG. I don't think it's quite enough, though. I think they're going to have to back away from this one. We're getting a little too excited here on the desk.
I just saw the 24-minute win last time. I was like, they can match it. They can do it.
It's a race against time. But what a way for FPX to capitalize on the leads they have. And I said it before, this is the moment that they slingshot themselves.
And I thought maybe EDG could do it here because the crucial members were Gimgoon out of the pit, which gives EDG access to the back line. But again, yeah, it's that coordination from EDG not quite working out. They don't focus LWX, and Scout is trying his darndest to get his damage out, but unfortunately isn't able to get onto the key carries, and as well, we're going to actually have to hang on here.
Bear in mind, a singular pick here could end the game. In the meantime, Gimgoon going to be hammering away in the top side, but they're not looking for all three inhibitors here. You can see the 1-4. They're looking to try and finish things off.
Again, though, I want to see EDG forgo this priority that they're putting onto Doimby in fights. Everyone is diving onto him, and it feels like they're playing with the nameplates. LWX is so big right now. You need to get onto this misfortune as well. You can't just all in on Doimby every single time, especially with that Zhonya's Hourglass complete.
This will be a second inhib falling now, but there are supers in the mid lane. Baroned up supers, no less. Still 60 seconds, 70 even, on this Baron buff. Scout desperately trying to clear these out, but with a Kalista and a Kassadin, you just don't have the damage. Now Pillar behind these turrets. The siege continues here on towards the base, and it feels like there's nothing EDG can do. Scout goes in. He's invincible, but he's out of the fight. That's a home run coming out from Gimgoon, and it's going to be the series, surely. Scout on the Kassadin. He finds one. Cosmic Radiance keeps him alive, but he's 1v4, and he will be taken out. Hope can do nothing to stop the Phoenix. They're reborn, and they're going to take this series 3-1 over EDG. What a performance here coming out from EDG, from FPX, taking the win over EDG, and they had a glorious game number 3, but ultimately FPX bringing